saucers taking off from the Monzano weapons storage area and landing, you know. They were great 8x10 prints. A guy named Chris Lambright had them last that I knew. I was going to steal them from Chris, but I gave them back to him. And I have one or two 4x5s of those.
Oh, do you?
Anyway, and then I left Benowitz, and he gave me the big X-ray of the little thing that the girl had in her neck. And that I gave to Ron Revere, and I don't know what he ever did with it. But anyway, I end up in Dulce, call up Gabe Valdez, say I'm here, introduces, yeah. He says, look, I've got patrol tonight between 10 o'clock and 6 in the morning. Do you want to go with me? I said, yeah. So he comes over, and I say, I'm John Lear. He says, I know who you are. I remember you were here 20 years ago in a Learjet. And I said, really? He said, yeah, you brought in steaks for Dean Martin and his girlfriend. And then I remembered, yeah, when I was flying charter, and he jogged my memory, I had been chartered out of Van Nuys to bring in fresh steaks and Dean Martin's girlfriend to a movie that he was filming in Dulce. And Gabe remembered me from that.
That's amazing.
So we got in his car, and it was the most interesting evening, 8 hours. We were all lined around these little roads. It was black as heck, you know. We talked about all Benowitz, Bertie Edwards, what's the guy's name that, Doty, Moore, the whole thing. You know, it was just really an interesting drive, and we stopped and we had some green chili at these little Mexican places. It was a fascinating evening. Anyway, I got some sleep the next day, and then I had this rented car, and I tried to go up the Archuleta Mesa because what I wanted to do was see the spot where the nuclear craft had crashed, or the Benowitz said it crashed. Because Gabe said, you know, as far as I know, it did. He said there's obvious, you can see the tree that it hit. You know, we found a government pen up there. You know, there's all kinds of evidence that it happened. But it was in the winter, and I had this two-wheel drive, and I tried to go up this back road up the mesa, and I nearly went off into the canyon. So I never got up there. But,
so that wasn't like guarded at that time?
No, I don't think it is today.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
That's interesting.
I can show you the place where I went to go up there. But anyway, get back to Vegas. I made contact with a person, and this person tells me the whole thing about, is his name Castallo? What was his last name? The guy that worked at Dulce?
Yeah, that sounds right.
There's Castallo and there's Schnieder,
Yeah,
who've come out of the public record. Yeah.
And we talked for days, weeks, months, and this person gave me pencil drawings of what that either she had seen in the video or Costello had described to her. Those ended up were the Dulce papers. Those were my drawings. As I mentioned on some thread the other day, the Dulce papers text is posted and on the internet, and that's what I typed from what the person who knew Costello told. That's my typewriter. That typewriter's out in the garage. It's an IBM, what they call executive, and it had proportional spacing.
Right.
And you know, those were my drawings. I made ink drawings of the pencil drawings. I still have the pencil drawings. I think the ink drawings I gave to Val. I haven't seen them around, but they may be around. I don't know. I have so many files I have, you know, out in the garage. You know, they're just, you know, I have some legal file 4-drawer cabinets here, 2 or 3, just full of this stuff. You know?
Now, why do you think you're left alone? Why do you think you know so much, number one, and why do you think that the government leaves you alone?
They don't bother anybody with secondhand
Exactly.
information. They got Phil because he was there. I will forever rue the day of not giving Phil Schneider, you know, enough attention because he's right here. He sat right here, told me his story, and it's not that I didn't believe it. It's that, you know, yeah, well, you know, maybe, you know, and it's too bad because he did have the story. I wish I would have given him more time than I did. And that happened with another person. I'll remember in just a second. Another person that I didn't give that much attention to. Uthauser. He came here, you know, years ago and told me all that stuff. Now there's a guy I didn't believe. until later. What's his name up there, the S4 guy?
Talking about Dan?
Dan. I sat here and I watched 2 or 3 hours of the tapes, and I thought, that guy's been there. Nobody could make that stuff up. Now, the Dan Burris story is simple, but it's complex. He was there. He did work there. I listened to George Knapp the other day, and I read his stuff on ATS, and he is so down on Dan Burris. It's unfortunate.
Did you see my interview with Dan? I just did an interview with him.
Oh, no.
It's posted right now. You should take a look at it. It's actually almost 2.5 hours of intense testimony.
D.u.m.b described Area 51 and S4. There's no question in my mind that he was there.
Right.
But now there's something that's happening to Dan and something they're doing with him, and it all fits into Project Serpo. And,
You think so?
I think that it's a big, long-range disinformation program. But the bottom line is, Burris was up there. He worked up there, and it's really interesting. It's two bad people, when they look on these stories, it's either right or it's wrong.
Right.
They can't know that there's some parts that are correct,
Exactly.
some parts that are disinformation. They want it, left or right, bad or good, It's too bad. George Knapp, I've known him for years, and he's always, he's got some good ideas. I mean, he's done some tremendous work, but it always seems to be about 3 years behind me, on, it takes a while to understand this, to get into this stuff,
Well, how did you get into research? Because, you were a pilot.
What-
You had a lot of other things going on, but you
Well,
really, what was the trigger that really got you deep into this stuff?
I said that on the internet. I told him what happened. I was across town, a friend of mine, his name was Al Newell. We were shooting buddies together. In those days, IPSC was a big thing, International Practical Shooting Congress. And we spent a lot of time together. And I was over at his house, and there was a book on the table, and it's called A Missing Time by Bud Hopkins. And I picked this thing up, and okay, this is kind of interesting, because see, I'd always been interested in saucers, but not that much. As it turns out, my dad was right in.
Really?
My mom had a crush on Hoyt Vandenberg, one of the MJ12s. He was in the house all the time. So was Jimmy Doolittle. Dad was on the board of the Lovelace Clinic. Randy Lovelace, was a surgeon in Wright-Patterson when the Roswell thing happened. They sent him to Albuquerque, where he's from, to form to do the Lovelace Institute. The Lovelace Institute was where they, did the autopsies of the bodies. The whole group was, my dad, Jimmy Doolittle, Hoyt Vandenberg, all those guys were together.
Is your dad still alive?
No, he died in 1978.
Oh.
He used to talk about this all the time, but not in too much detail.
Uh-huh.
He went down to Bogota in 1953 and made an announcement that he thought UFOs were real and made a thing. And of course, MJ12 came down and Bill, you can't say this stuff. He said, well, I didn't tell him anything more than anybody else knew. Yeah, but Bill, you can't do it. Now, apparently he was into the anti-gravity stuff. There's a video floating around, 3 minutes on the internet, that shows my dad giving a lecture with my mom standing behind him with pictures of saucers on the blackboard at the Bonson Institute to a group of scientists. There's
Wow.
also more in that video that shows scientists working on balsa wood and tissue things of UFOs, doing I don't know what, but there's a calendar. And it's obviously somebody who's trying to tell us something at the calendar, and the X date, the days are marked off. And it's obvious to whoever made this videotape is telling us that it was important, something important was being developed or had to be developed. So
you saw this book on this table of your friend.
Oh, but Missing Time. So I picked it up and I read it, and I was just absolutely, it just hit me. This stuff is real. It's real. It's going on right now. So, and I'm thinking this is like 85 or something. At the exact same time, we had a reunion of Southeast Asia pilots here in Las Vegas, and I ran into one of the Ravens. You know who the Ravens were, the sheepdog guy that flew in Laos. Greg Wilson was a Raven. And